Okay, you are set. You can start.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you for attending us. We are starting our session on sharing experience, promoting ideas, media literacy projects in the Arab world. Our first speaker, Professor Carola Richter, and her title is Reading, Learning, and Producing in Their Own. She's a professor with the Free University of Berlin in Germany. Welcome, Professor Carola.
Thank you, Dr. Sonia, and to the whole Sultan Qaboos University for having us here as this panel, where we want to share some experiences that we have in our area core network. I'm going to speak about that in a second, and I'm trying to share my presentation here. So hopefully you can see that now. Okay.
Yes, we can see it, Professor. Thank you.
Very good. So what I would like to say is that successful media literacy education requires actually a comprehensive approach. And that means that we have to work on different levels, as we heard during this conference already. So this involves journalism education. It involves, in this way, targeting also the main media producers themselves. But we also have to work with school children, the elderly, or all kinds of audiences. And also our students of media communication and journalism studies are a main target audience for media literacy education, as they will become opinion leaders in all kinds of sectors later on. So in order to join forces on that matter, to share our experiences and collaborate in different fields, we have founded the Area Core Network already in 2013. And Area Core stands for the Arab European Association of Media and Communication Researchers. Our network comprises of 11 institutional members that involve Freie Universität Berlin as the only institutional European member. And then we have 10 Arab universities stretching geographically from Morocco to Oman and from Lebanon to Egypt. And you can find them listed here. I just want to make sure that I'm still on. Maybe Sonia, can you tell me if you can still hear me?
Yes, we can follow
Okay.
you. The only thing is that your slide is not running.
Ah, it's not running. That's
No.
again kind of a problem. Let me try here. Okay, this is probably a problem because my screen is... Okay, let me then try this. Sorry for that. Then I probably try it this way. So can you see the next slide now, the second one with the partners?
Yes, we can see, yes.
Okay, sorry for that. So all of our members have set up their own media literacy initiatives, as you will hear from 3 of them in a couple of minutes. And with their initiatives, they indeed span all those sectors that I have just outlined above, from training journalists to school children, to students, and also to activists. In my presentation, and can you see probably this slide now?
Yes, we can follow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry for that. So in my presentation, I would like to highlight 2 important elements of media literacy that have become the key features of the network approach. So not only of the single institutions that we have, but of our network approach. And the first one is intercultural comparative learning about media or media systems. And the second one is the own production of media literacy content. And I will talk about that in more detail now. So regarding the first element, the comparative element in media literacy, this comparative element in media literacy education is often neglected, and we tend to remain in our national spheres. And comparison can help to create an awareness of the achievements, but also the shortcomings of the media landscape one is located in and one is familiar with. So looking beyond one's own horizon can be a motivation to work towards change also, to be media literate and to work then also towards change. And I will give you an example from our work. Since 2015 already, we have organized several summer and winter schools in which we brought German students together with the students and teachers of the Arab members of the Area Core Network. They gathered, for example, in Berlin, as you see here in the picture, and had the task to jointly produce short videos together on a recent issue in the media systems of, let's say, Egypt or Tunisia. And before this task could be accomplished, the German students had to read academic literature on the respective media system. They had to form joint student teams with their Arab counterparts and had to ask each other about factual information of the respective media system, but also about normative positions they were in. And along this process, they had to come up with a concrete idea about the film's focus. They had to find information and interview partners and had to write a script including academic literature. So this intensive process of having to work together in an intercultural team with often very different or differing experiences and positions has become for us a key element to teach media literacy. I give you two more concrete examples how this worked. For example, here in a team working on Algerian media, the German students were really astonished about the fact that the military in Algeria was able to interfere in the production of media content, while the Algerian team members simply shrugged it off as normal. So this is normal in our society. And this created an interesting dialogue in which the German students were to reflect about control mechanisms that apply to German media despite its alleged independence, while the Algerian students were reminded also to critically reflect about this direct control of media by the military. Another example is, for example, the discussion about digital security and privacy settings as a key debate evolving around our own use of social media platforms and the digital footprints that we leave. So there have already always been discussions between some German students and their Arab counterparts already about which platform to use in order to exchange individually. Should we use WhatsApp or should we go to a different platform which is not owned by one of these major neoliberal platforms and companies?
Professor Carola, I
Yes.
would like to say you have 5 minutes.
Yes. The German students were often very cautious about the different platforms' data protection, while many Arab students had rather an issue with state monitoring, but not with the capitalist platforms to gather our data. So this already created an interesting dialogue. So this intercultural exchange and the resulting constant dialogue creates, in our understanding, a deeper understanding of media across borders. And although I have given you here examples of German-Arab exchanges, the same is true for inner-Arab exchange. We just finished, as you can see here, a picture from it, we just finished a joint course in which we transferred this physical to digital meetings. And each week we had presentations about a different country, and we learned about media fragmentation in Yemen, as well as about gender representation in the media in Morocco. And there was sometimes a surprise among the fellow Arab participants on what is happening in other Arab countries regarding media performance, regarding which regulations are in place and how media is organized. So now I would come to the second key element of our media literacy approach, the own production of media literacy content. And I mentioned already that we asked the students to produce video material that allows others to learn more about the topic that they dealt with in their teams. And we all know that we internalize knowledge much better when we not only read about it or hear about it, but when we have to reproduce it and tell others about it. So by asking them to produce short videos instead of traditional term papers or essays, we pose the additional task of having to explain an often complex or complicated issue in a way that would be understood by someone who has probably not heard about it before. So one could say that we combined academic skills like doing research, formulating a research question, looking for sources, with journalistic media production skills. That means approaching interview partners, thinking about how to visualize this issue and how to create some sounds about it, and also to work with video editing programs. And here, for example, I have brought you some pictures from a video where they actually had to look for interview partners and conducted interviews with them, or how they tried to visualize what they wanted to say for the video in a creative manner. And along the way, issues like copyright or ethics have also been tackled. So we contend that only through applying the logic of media production, media literacy about ethical research skills and transparent dissemination can be acquired and internalized. So now the material products of these two approaches can be found here. We have set up an e-learning platform through which the videos are made available to a broader public. We have systematized it according to countries, and if you go to the website itself, you can see also that it not only comprises of Germany and Arab countries, but this teaching model has also been transferred to other courses, for example, courses dealing with Eastern European media. And if you go on the website, you can see that there are many films already there. Everyone can watch it. They can read the scripts. They can get the information about additional literature as well. The films are mostly in English, some in Arabic, and then mostly contain subtitles in the respective other language.
Professor, you have 2 minutes to complete, please.
What we have managed so far is that we also included this platform as an approved knowledge database in the library catalogs of some German universities. So if you use these catalogs in some universities, you will be also transferred to this e-learning platform. And we are currently working on an expansion of that. In addition, of course, the platform is being shared as a source on academia or ResearchGate and cross-linked on social media. So our next step will be to include more material focusing on teaching on this platform. So that also teachers then can use syllabi, for example, ready-to-use video lectures and examples for tasks in classes.
Professor, we are...
Yes, I'm finishing. Okay. So what we will do is that we also focus still on media systems, because media systems is looking at media systems is an approach where we can actually delve into comparative understandings of journalism cultures, control mechanisms, and media organization, to name just a few. And yes, we hope that this platform will be used. And by the way, you can also, it's also open for videos and material produced beyond the Area Core network. And we hope to enlarge it also with your help.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Carollo. It's very interesting, very good that we are looking at intercultural, comparative, and learning media system. We now move on to Mrs. Bayan Tal. Her topic is, she's very much focused on training students, academics, and members of the civil society on media information literacy. And her title is Media Literacy, Critical Minds for Critical Times. Welcome, Ms. Bayan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to the University of Sultan Qaboos for this opportunity, and Dr. Carolla also for including us in this panel. The Jordan Media Institute is a nonprofit organization that gives a master's degree in journalism and new media, and it's an intensive one-year program. It was set up by Her Royal Highness Princess Reem Ali, who was a former journalist as well. Its aim is to develop media in the Arab world, in Jordan and the Arab world, and help journalists with the skills they need to develop their profession. We also do projects that support journalists and local communities as well. Our involvement with media literacy started with the establishment of the Jordan Media Institute, but also in 2013 when we started sending our students to participate in the MD lab that was set up by Dr. Jad Malki in Beirut. So every year we send a group of students and a professor to attend the summer camp there. And I was one of those who did go, and it was extremely useful. And in 2014, we established AKID, which is the Jordanian Media Monitoring and Fact-Checking Portal. And it monitors violations by journalists and media organizations. And in 2016, we started the media literacy program, a pilot program in Jordan. We started with 4 schools, 2 girls' school and 2 boys' school, public schools, of course. We trained 24 teachers from these schools, and they set up media literacy labs, clubs in those schools for a full year and trained 120 students. Since then, we developed manuals for teachers and a textbook for universities, and composed or developed a strategy for media literacy for Jordan, which was adopted by the government and is part of its priorities for the years 2020 to 2023. It includes 4 components: integrating media and information literacy in schools, universities, youth centers, and the media and civil society organizations. Jordan Media Institute was named as the implementing partner of the government for this strategy. And we have been involved heavily since then in especially the component of youth and schools. We've trained hundreds of teachers and are already currently training hundreds more. We are working with the university, with the Ministry of Education on curricula, and we have already introduced it in grades 7, 8, and 10, and we'll be working to integrate it for other classes. We've been also asked to include media literacy in the pre-service training for teachers at the Ministry of Education, and they would like us also to include it as part of the career path for teachers. So providing these skills to these teachers and integrating it into the curriculum would be exactly what we had been hoping for since we started in 2016. This would institutionalize these skills for society in general. We also believe that media literacy should also be available for everyone, because through AKID, we've seen violations of ethics and misunderstanding of the role of media in general among journalists and politicians. So it's very important that these skills are provided to politicians who, in some cases, commit hate speech in their rhetoric, do not understand, do not appreciate ethics, especially when addressing the public. So we see violations also among journalists. And more recently, we issued a report on Akid that addresses a journalist and who committed multiple violations by interviewing a person who is accused of killing his mother and who was detained a few days earlier, and interviewing him on camera. The person had not gone through a trial, was not convicted, and it was really a gross violation. And so we did a report on that. We see a lot of other violations by journalists and media organizations in terms of not being true to the profession. And this is, I think, is experienced by many journalism organizations in the world. We see the media is polarized in the Arab world between being pro-government or pro-regime and completely, totally contradictory and totally counterproductive in their approach, very unprofessional. When they're critical, they don't have proof or are very aggressive. And we see a lot of course, restrictions being imposed on media. So this has created a sense of a lack of professionalism that has reflected on people's perception of media and journalism, and it's undermining the profession in general. So with media literacy, we help people understand what true journalism is, what professional journalism is, and make it mainly create change from the bottom up. If people appreciate good media, they will shun unprofessional media, and they will support good journalism. As we all are, Arabs are all young people, and these young people have been alienated by the mainstream media, which is mainly official media, and they have migrated to media platforms, social media platforms. And many in Jordan, we have very good examples of journalists creating their own media organizations online and have been extremely successful. They've created podcasts, they've created online magazines and news organizations. Yes.
Mrs. Tal, sorry to interrupt, but you have 5 minutes to complete.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'll end up very soon. We feel that the material that we use, especially with the training that we give, is very interactive. It has examples from their life, so people can associate with it. It's very useful, and we use role playing, we use examples from local media and regional media. We show examples of hate speech, examples of misogyny, racism, and we show good practices. We show good examples of good journalism, so people appreciate the difference. And the main focus is, like Dr. Carolla mentioned, which is being able to produce media. And this, with the age groups that we worked with, whether students or youth, has given them a sense of empowerment, and they love it, especially when we do sessions on producing photo essays and videos, doing videos on their mobile phones, has given them a sense of empowerment. They feel they have a voice, and it's been extremely, we see the difference in their approach to media, in their relations with their peers. They like to share what they've learned, and they become very confident of themselves. And the reaction from the teachers as well as the parents has been incredible. The parents would like to also be part of the training. They see how useful it is. And so I think for Jordan, this is a very successful story. I'm very proud of the government for actually doing this and for doing it on such a large scale, a national scale. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bayan. It was great to listen about the lack of professionalism and how we have to start from the beginning, from the young and the children. Excellent. Now we are going to move on to Mrs. Butaina. Mrs. Butaina, she's going to be talking about promoting transparency and freedom of speech. That's a good topic. Mrs. Butaina is also very much involved with training projects and the development of media literacy manual for educational purpose and empowerment. Welcome to our conference, Mrs. Butaina, and please take the floor.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to be with you today. I'm going to talk about the transparency and press of freedom through a different intervention for MDC in MIL. I can share with you right now the presentation, which will tackle several points related to the lack of or restriction about the freedom of expression in Palestine, and also what we did in this manner. I will try just share the
Yes, Victoria, there is sharing. There is a button called share.
There is nothing sharing there, Mr. Hilal.
No, she's looking for share, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking for share, but I try to find it from here. Okay. Okay, I'll try to find it, but I don't want to waste time. Mainly, as it's well known for you that there is a lot of restrictions or obstacles regards the press of freedom in Palestine, regards the Israeli occupation, regards the authority in West Bank, regards to the de facto authority in Gaza, Hamas. It's various from using violation against journalists and social activists, etc. And we have the censorship, the social censorship, the economic censorship, the religion, the society censorship, etc. That's why it was for us very highly important to work on media literacy since 2007.
Now it's showing, Ms. Butaina. Now it's showing your presentation.
It's shown right now?
Yes,
sorry, I shared my screen, so you just have to tell me move on. So it's your final presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
You see my presentation right now? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes, it's yours.
That's great.
No,
That's great.
Victoria, because I think there is mix here. I think this is not the presentation of the presenter.
Yes, but I have it. So it's then I shared it with me. So
please stop it now. Stop sharing now, please.
Okay.
Is it work?
Okay.
Is it work now?
I wanted to share it, but they don't let me. Okay, so I'm sorry.
I'm not sure. This is for this presentation, for this talk.
That's why it's better without PowerPoint.
Yeah, the problem with the. Okay, I will continue. I believe yeah, you are screen sharing right now. What's written, but it's fine because what's at the time I have right now? I lost you.
Well, not much. Yes, but I give you a little bit and I take from the others if it's okay with you.
It's okay for me. Yeah, thank you so much.
And if the other agree, okay? If the others agree at the end, yes.
Okay, I will move it quickly. I can summarize why it's very important for us to implement media and information literacy projects since 2007. First, to promote transparency and freedom of speech when addressing social, political, economical, cultural issue during capacity building and training for different kind of group or citizen. Also to protect all the human rights for the people, to empower people to realize their rights and to assist those responsible for upholding such rights and ensure that they are implemented, and to guarantee the effective engagement for the citizen in decision making in the society. Also, the demand of critical reading of media by the people regard the huge flow of information and misleading information through the social media platform. And at the end, it's important because we need to strengthen and promote the Palestinian narrative, as it's well known that the Israeli lobby is very strong regarding deliver their narrative. That's why we need to empower citizens to participate, to highlight and talk about the Palestinian narrative in different media outlets or using media, social media platforms. I will go through very quickly what we did until now in regards to the MIL. We implemented a project in 2015 for 2 years, and actually it's continuous with our partner in KVS and Bethlehem University. Through this project, we developed a manual. It's called Media Literacy Manual for Adults, and we train more than 270 person about the media literacy through 12 training sessions. And mainly we train the participant, who is not journalist, of course, about how to deal with the media, what's the different kind of media products like reports, articles, investigative reports, etc. Also the civil journalism in front of the professional journalism, how it's different, how it can affect. Also, we talk during or train the participant during these courses about the digital security, about how to use photos or videos with the ethical manners, about the copyrights, about the basic human rights in daily lives, and how to talk about it in the media, how to do lobby and advocacy campaigns, etc. It's it continue different. It's have different elements or subject through this training, but I just summarize some points and all needed information about that training and what's covered. It's in the link of the media guides, which in Arabic and English as well. Also, we continue working on this project, which is Media Literacy for Sustainable Society in 2019 and 20. And we continue training civil society participants, citizens, adults, youth on media literacy, but also we add a training course for journalists to how train regular people about the media literacy. And also we update the manual again, and you can find it on our website or the link. There's some photos from the courses. We deliver it in Gaza as well, and in the West Bank. Also, it's worth mentioning that the media literacy is not just for regular citizen or youth or women in marginalized group, etc. We work in the last 6 years with different kind of participants. For example, last year we trained 5 ministers actually in the current government on how to deal with the media, how to present themselves in the media, how to deliver the message, etc. And also we train the government, the PR workers of the Council of Ministers, the police officer as well, colonels, the different kind of ministry like Ministry of Social Development, Ministry of Women Affairs, the Civic Defense, municipalities member, the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization as well. And also we work on developing media strategy for local institutions and for NGOs, for ministries, media performance and visibility, such as the Independent Commission on Human Rights and Edward Said.
Mrs. Al-Samiri, you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. Oh, so I will skip some slides, but it's highly important that to say that we work, when we started working in 2007, we work with the Ministry of Education with 30 schools. We conduct TOT for 30 teachers, and we develop 2 manual for the teachers and manual for the student. And the 30 teachers actually trained 1,000 students during different courses, and actually it became part of the non-curriculum activity in the schools. At the end, I would like to highlight a recommendation, because we are continuously working in the MIL. We need to, as MDC, with our partner, to expand the group. We train them, like the women in marginalized group, the youth, the refugees, the villages, etc., and also expand the area and focus on Area C and Gaza Strip. And also we would like to continue working with the civil society training in MIL. At the end, also, we would love to take this opportunity and to say that it's highly important to expand the media literacy as an approach in the regional level in the Arabic country. We can start with the manual we developed to add the experience of different Arabic countries to this manual and to use it in different kind of training in Arabic country. This very, very quickly, and I can share the presentation on the chat just in case someone wants to review it, because I didn't have the chance to say all our intervention. At the end, thanks you so much for your attention, and you can visit our website for more details. Thank you so much for listening.
Your microphone is muted.
My microphone?
This one, I thought. Thank you very much, Ms. Butaina from the Beirut University Media Department Center in Palestinian. Under my clock, you got the exactly time that it was there for you. Somebody called my attention, 15 minutes. Yes, you have the 15 minutes that with my clock. It is very important, some of the points that you raised, like the manual is great, and the training, including the training of people in the government and ministers. Very much highlighted your expansion to start with the young people and go all the ladder up. It's a brilliant performance. Thank you so much. We are going for the next, the only man in the group of the ladies, and seems to be very early morning for him, Dr. Jadi Melki. So welcome, Dr. Jadi Melki, to our session on sharing experience, promoting ideas, media literacy projects in the Arab world. Mr. Dr. Jad Melki, he said he's heavily involved with media literacy in the Arab world, and seems that also training of students and professionals is one of the parts that he is very much keen. His topic for us is advancing skills in critical reading media. And you are from the Department of Communication Arts with the Lebanese American University. Welcome, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It is so exciting always to hear Arab colleagues talk about media literacy so passionately and talking about all these amazing projects. And for the record, Carola, I consider you Arab, so I'm including you in that group. The reality of the matter, about 10 or 11 years ago, this was not the case at all. In fact, before 2009, barely anyone in this part of the world has ever heard of media literacy. And thanks to the colleagues we're hearing today, thanks to Carola and others, partners, there was a small group of people, academics and students who are passionate about media literacy, who learned it either somewhere in the West, being educated, or I don't know, read about it, committed to actually training and spreading media literacy in the Arab world. And I remember in 2011, we launched a conference, and there was many Arab universities and professors present there. And the whole focus was media literacy, new directions. How can we create an authentic Arab media literacy that addresses our culture, that addresses our issues? And I remember in that conference, we convened multiple focus groups and said, okay, what are the problems? What are the obstacles where we are facing? And I remember like 3 or 4 things that we came up with. We need to train faculty. We don't have skilled faculty. We need to know to define what an Arab media literacy is. We need curricula in local language in Arabic, and that address our own problems. And this is how the idea of MD Lab, the Media and Digital Literacy Academy of Beirut, was born. So we launched it in 2013 with generous fundings from multiple institutions back then, including Open Society Foundations and many others who came later. And I'm back then, I mean, I never thought I would be in a conference where there are other colleagues who are so passionately talking about so many million projects. At one point, it was so depressing that you feel that you're pushing and pushing and pushing, and nobody is barely ever hearing it. But there was apparently a lot of people hearing, a lot of people listening, a lot of people passionate about media literacy, and I'm so humbled by that experience. To talk very briefly about media literacy, and I'm not going to take too much time because I'm going to play a 3-minute video that will actually show you what we do. MD Lab is basically a 2-week summer session. Each year we bring in faculty, university professors, teachers, students, journalists, activists, and we train them in media literacy. We get almost 500 applications every year, and we can only accommodate about 75 to 100 people depending on attendance. And a lot of funding comes from the DAAD, and with the help of Carola and Area Corps. We get a lot of students from Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. JMI is one of our partners. We have theoretical lectures, we have skills lectures, we have TOT, training of the trainers, that focuses on pedagogical teaching, how to build syllabi, how to develop curricula for media literacy. And all of the material that we do is in open source. We put it on a website. Everybody can use it, going all the way back to 2013. So let me, without talking too much about this, let me play this, this video. You can all see it, right?
Digital media literacy is about giving people the power and giving people the voice to use media to affect positive change in the world.
I think the role of media literacy and the role of media education is to make us see the environment we're in and to make us pay attention to the images that we see the stories that we see, and then to ask questions about where do those stories come from, who's in charge of them, who wrote them, whose interests are at stake.
We want to expand the number of voices that are heard throughout this region so that their stories get out to the world, so that people all over understand more fully the stakes and the kinds of struggles that are defining the 21st century.
Women, refugees, minorities in society don't have a lot of space in media. So I think when you provide media education opportunities, then you will see more media being produced from those perspectives.
Media literacy helps, on the one hand, encourage people and also the young generation to go out and take over, occupy the public space, be it online or also offline.
What we have seen in the past few years, the positive effect of MDLab on the region, in that so many universities have adopted the media literacy courses in their curricula, and this means we have better educated students who are better consumers and producers of media content.
كان التركيز ليس فقط على الجانب النظري، كان التركيز على الجانب العملي، editing audio, editing video, فوتوشوب وانفوجراف، حتى تكون انه متمكن من كيفيه استخدام التربيه الاعلاميه حتى انه تعدل عليه.
نتعلمها هون بالاكاديميه، اكيد راح تنعكس على شغلي.
فعليا كل شيء عم ناخده هو قابل للتطبيق، يعني سواء اذا كان شخص عنده المعلومات وضاف معلومات جديده عليها.
I think the theoretical and the technical combined together that we learn here could help us empower other people to become more media literate, thus being more able to decipher the messages that they get on a daily basis from the media.
أكثر شيء حبيته في الأنتيلاب هو الناس اللي تعرفت عليهم ب different age groups, different nationalities, برضه من الوطن العربي نفسه.
MDLab impressed me. The quality of the speakers and the lectures impressed me. The whole learning process and the experience of coming here to Beirut on this journey and learning about MDLab was fascinating simply.
So this is a quick summary of what we do. Those were the days before the COVID-19 pandemic, and we are hoping to go back to that. We are tentatively scheduled to launch it this summer. I'm still not sure if we are going to be able to do it or not. We might have to delay it a little bit, maybe even a few months. We'll see, but we are hoping the vaccine will pan through. So with just a couple of minutes that I have left, the biggest challenge that we faced is how to define an Arab media literacy, how to define an authentic media literacy curricula or approach or philosophy that is rooted in our concerns. A lot of the media literacy curricula, if that come from the West, really do not address the biggest concerns we have, whether it's terrorism, occupation, migration, refugees, war, discrimination, sectarianism, sexism, homophobia, autocracy, imperialism, colonialism. All of these, we are working now with colleagues from throughout the region on research to address these issues. And I'm working on a book that hopefully will be coming out in about a year that tackles media literacy of the oppressed, which focuses on these issues. Our goal, simply put, is to bring media literacy to every university, every school in this part of the world. We think it is that important. It is important for our societies to develop and to become better countries. So if there's anyone in this group and among these participants who are interested actually in applying for this year, yep, there you go. There's the link. You can see it up there. You can just type it in, log in, and the application is all online. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Okay, now, Dr. Melk, yes, I was clicking on mute and nothing was happening. You still have a little 2 minutes. Would you like to use these minutes, or shall I?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so before we start with the discussion that would start at 2 o'clock our time, I would like to see if each one of you, Professor Carol is starting, can maybe make use of this 1 minute, and then we can go to Mrs. Bayan and Mrs. Butaina, and again, but only 1 minute, okay? And then we can go for the discussion. We have time for that. And it's so rich what you brought in that I'm sure people would like to ask you questions. Thank you. Professor Carola.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Sonia, and thanks also to the other participants here in the panel. I think it was, as you just said, Dr. Sonia, it's so rich what kind of initiatives are out there. And from my side, I probably want to stress again that this comparative approach is something very important that we should definitely consider. Dr. Jad just mentioned here that things that are projects or ideas that are coming from the West are often not to be applicable to certain other circumstances and societies. And the same goes then also for the West itself. So there are also different, concepts around and different circumstances. And what we should really delve into is a comparative approach that allows us to take the best from each other and to learn the best from each other in order to enhance our own media performances, our media systems, and this I consider a key part of media literacy.
Thank you very much. Very good. Very, very good. The intercultural. That's what we are doing here. Then we go for the Miss Bayan, please.
Thank you. I totally agree with Dr. Carola. It's very important. And this networking and support and benefiting from the experience of others, we would not have been able to do that had we not been partners with Dr. Jad or with UNESCO and had funding from the European Union or Deutsche Welle Academy. We've done great work with Deutsche Welle Academy on media literacy in Jordan. And partners in Jordan have started to appreciate these skills, and we're getting support from local organizations as well to integrate and to spread these skills with youth, for students, teachers, and politicians. It is critical, like I said in my title, these are very critical times. The infodemic, the lack of freedoms, the oppression, the frustration of young people. It's very important that they are given the space to work, the space to express themselves, and the space to produce material, to express themselves online, and to use these platforms for their own benefit safely and ethically. And we focus a lot on ethics here. And hopefully with the support from organizations, international donors, and governments, we can create informed, well-informed citizens. The problem is with information. I think it's all based on information. If we are open enough to provide the information, we will be able to create informed citizens who are able to also discern the correct information from the incorrect, and are able to analyze and evaluate all the information that they receive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bayan. Very good. Can we go now for Ms. Butaina? Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, it's clear that we did a lot regarding the media literacy. Different partners, different speakers talk about great projects and great efforts regarding this subject. And it's the time to unite our efforts and really to benefit from each other. And I mentioned that it's the time to have the media literacy as an approach in the region, which match with what Dr. Jad said. It's as Dr. Jad said, it's different from the west to east. We have different kind of problem, like the hate speech and sexual abuse, etc. It's different from country to another, or from the region to the west. So maybe we have to work in the media literacy in regional level, and really the MIL become right for every citizen. Everyone need the MIL, because anyone with a mobile become a journalist right now. He can have a photo or make a video of while he's walking in the street and download it and become a big event, and everyone talk about it, etc. So MIL, it's like one of the human rights. It's like the right to have education, or right to have health service. You have the right to know and be aware about MIL and use it in ethical way, and use it in a professional way, or use it at least in a aware way that it's dangerous. The citizen journalism become competing the traditional media, and it must be well educated the civilian about how to use the media. It's become like a weapon, dangerous weapon, if you use it in a wrong way, or use it as a rumor or misleading the people. So this is what can I say about what I hear right now.
Very good, very good in this one, especially when you say the regional level approach. That is very good indeed. Okay, now we move on to Dr. Melki. And you have 1 minute to provide us with some closing insight like we are doing now. Please, Doctor.
I just want to say again that I'm so excited to hear other colleagues talk about media literacy so passionately, and all the rich projects they're dealing with. And I hope more and more people in the Arab region will take this on. From the beginning, from day one, when we started MD Lab, we said we don't want to have a monopoly over this. We don't want to have any control over this. We just want to be the seed that flourishes in this part of the world. And I'm so glad, I'm so excited to see that seed and many other seeds that have been put in many other Arab countries have now flourished into fields and trees and of media literacy. So that's it.
Thank you so much. So now we are going to move on for discussion, and I'm sure we have an audience here, a good audience, and they would have some questions. Please. Oh, Dr. Hassani, you are most welcome, please.
Dr. Sonia.
Yes, Doctor.
If you allow me, thank you very much for this, moderating this very interesting and very important session. And I should say that all thanks goes to Carola, whom I invited her and approached her just to participate in this conference, but she answered me back telling me, well, I will brought my colleagues with me, and they are all invited if you allow me. And actually, great, she did that. So I'm really happy to listen to all these rich experiences in Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine. Thank you very much for all these insights and inspiring actually experiences. And I can assure you that we are going to, write in our recommendation today that your experiences in establishing labs and centers in some parts of the Arab world going to be expanded and extend in many Arab worlds. This is what we are going to say tonight, because this is really important for all of us. Bayan, I visited the Jordan Media Center, and I was really impressed and very interesting, I mean, topics and initiatives in that center. And you know that we invited Dr. Bassem 2 days. He was with us, and he was delivering his keynote speech. Very interesting. And Jordan and Lebanon, especially, you have, I mean, very good experience in media literacy. Now, what I would like to ask, maybe for all panelists, 2 questions. First, do we or should we depend on media and communication graduates to be equipped and prepared to go and teach in schools, in public schools, about media literacy, or we can depend on that on the teachers, school teachers? Because I'm not talking now about media literacy in the society. I'm talking about this, I mean, kind of projects in schools. And you know that we have specific programs for schools. This is one question. Your centers now for media literacy, are we talking about non-profit centers? Because for sure they are non-government. Are we talking about non-profit? And if it's so, who is going to fund that? This is very important. And also, Carola, and you, all of you, if we will have an initiative here in Oman to establish something similar, what kind of support we can get from your association, Arab European Association for Communication and Media? What kind of support we can get to make it happen, to make it, I mean, to go and establish something? Because I'm really interested to do something similar to what are you doing, and continue your initiative. Thank you very much. This is all what I can say, and thank you for your all insights, I mean, presentations.
There is one point, Dr. Hassani, he's with hands raised for quite some time. If we can give him a chance to ask, and then the panelists, please, would answer to the question of Dr. Kindi. So Dr. Hassani, please.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you for all these rich presentations, actually. I'm very glad to hear this passion, actually, of media literacy. My question is, all of these successful stories that we heard about in this, I mean, in different Arab countries, why not we come together, all of us? Where is the missing point here? Is it political or economic or cultural, maybe? Because there are many successful stories here. I mean, in Jordan, very nice projects in different Arab worlds, Lebanon, Palestine, other countries that we heard in these 2 days. I don't know why we didn't spread a big project for all of us. Is there any problems to do that? Is there I don't know where is the missing point here. So thank you very much again. I'm very glad actually to continue these initiatives and to hear more about, to come together to do more, because it's very important, especially these days. Thank you very much.
Okay, Professor Carola, maybe you can start with your team, all the teamwork you brought all together.
Okay, so I will start, but then I will hand over to the colleagues, because they can answer much better about the situation in their different countries. With regard to the last question of Dr. Al-Hassani, probably, I would like to say, yeah, it's so important to network. And what I myself realized as a German, you know, although Jad considered me an Arab, but I'm still located here in the German circumstances. And as Germans, I must say, we very lately only learned about media literacy. Everybody here thought, well, it's we have such a great media system, all is democratic and so on, so nobody needs to care about media literacy. But then suddenly, when all this hate speech occurred, fragmentation in social media, people realize, no, we need media literacy, even though we thought, well, all the society is being educated in a way that they don't need it. And this was kind of a wake-up call when I heard from my Arab colleagues, well, we do that already since 2011. Already since a couple of years, we are involved in media literacy initiatives, and so we are also learned from our Arab partners here how to do it, and that it is so important. And I feel that there need to be a lot of wake-up calls, and actually I felt that also this conference in Oman is now such a kind of wake-up call to many people. Well, media literacy is important, and we need really to network between European and Arab countries, but also between different Arab countries, in order to make it to establish it in a much better way. And with regard to Dr. Al-Kindi's question, with regard to the recommendations that we could give, I think first of all, really networking is the main concern. So we should really know about the different initiatives, and that is also why we proposed this panel here, so that each of us knows what is going on in the different countries, and maybe also as broader initiatives beyond national levels. So this is the first thing, that we know about the different initiatives, and then that we learn from each other by taking part in, for example, such a conference here, or in a workshop, or at MD Lab, for example. So to learn more about different approaches, and also to get to know the people who are behind it. And this is, I think, the most important step that one needs to take first. And in the next step, one should talk about the funding problematic, because here in our initiative, we are relying very much on funding from external organizations, such as the German Academic Exchange Service, or such as other initiatives in Europe, and so on. So this is something one probably needs to talk about, how this could be transferred to other countries, or how initiatives or organizations could take over this task in the national realms, for example, in Oman. And I would now like to hand over to my colleagues. Sonia, you're still muted, I think.
Yes.
Okay, clicking 5 times and nothing. Okay, next one would be Ms. Bayan. Would you like to put answer the questions?
Thank you. Dr. Abdullah, thank you for that question. It's very important. Actually, our main trainers are journalists, and all have experience in journalism, because they have the initial skills and are able to, but they need training as trainers. So we use them to do the training. But for schools, I think it's important to institutionalize it in schools. And so teachers should have these skills so they can communicate them to their students, the media literacy skills. So, because we need to differentiate between media literacy and media education. Now we are not, we don't want these young people or students to become journalists. We want them to become critical thinkers. So they know the difference between a story and an opinion, and a news story and an advertisement. Between a good story or a biased story and an objective story, so they know how to maneuver these platforms. So I think the schools should be handled by the teachers and the administrators, But there is, in Europe, there is an initiative that uses journalists to go into schools and explain what journalism is to students, just a kind of like an advocacy awareness session, so they know how the media operates. And it's called the lie detectors. I know the young lady who started it, and they do good work. So, and these are volunteers. The journalists volunteer to do that. They just provide the network for them and the schedule, which is a very good. I'm trying to start it in Jordan as well. It's very important that you engage journalists to do that. It's very expensive to do the training and to develop the manuals, Dr. Abdullah. So it's we need to be funded. It's okay, we are a non-profit organization, but when we do these trainings, we have to have funds. And the fundings come from like the organizations I mentioned, from embassies in Jordan, like the Norwegian embassy. We worked very well with them, and other organizations. So, but it's good to have a center, a media literacy center in the country, so we can keep the network together, develop the standards, keep the standards as well. I know it can become very fragmented. بالنسبة لدكتور عبد المؤمن, yes, networking is very important, and no, there is nothing to stop us from working together. On the contrary, we're always offering our services, our experience, and trying to share it with other countries who are who want to. No challenges there at all. We just need to start it. The problem is, which is, it's sad, but it's true. We're brought together always by a non-Arab organization, and this is what Carola did. And so, but it happens. We are actually working with Birzeit. We're trying to get their experience in the digital media sector. They're doing excellent work, so we would like to benefit from that. We're working with Pialara, also a Palestinian organization on media literacy. We worked with Tunisia. We worked with Lebanon. So yes, we can, and we would love to work with Oman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Ms. Butaina.
Thank you. I don't want to repeat what Bayan said, because I totally agree with her regarding the point with the fresh graduate student to train the teacher. There is different when you, from our project, we train, we conduct TOT for journalists, fresh graduate and journalists, to conduct courses for citizen. Municipalities, member, etc. But for the schools, you need to institutionalize it, and also you want to guarantee the sustainability of the ongoing project. That's why you have to train the teacher, and actually through that you can enter it as a curriculum, media education in the system, the education system. So if you are going to train fresh graduate and to teach a teacher, it will be like courses here, courses there, but would not like, you cannot make this intervention through the education system. This is for the first question for Dr. Abdullah Kindi. For the other question, we are a Media Development Center, part of Birzeit University. So we are non-governmental and we are non-profit organization, and we depend on funds. And actually the situation in Palestine, the authority depend on the fund from EU, United States, Arabic country, etc. We believe that one day, or dream one day, that we will depend on our self to generate income. But within this situation, we will depend on the fund. And for Dr. Hassan, to be very quickly, we need to know about each other before, so we can go to work with each other. And this kind of conference or workshop, it put us together. Then we will know about the common interest, what we need from each other. Then we can start implementing a project. We can depend on fund or depend on ourselves, because sharing the experience, it costs nothing. We have the experience, you have the experience. We just need to be together and to communicate. then we will do a lot of things. So thanks for Carola, really, to put us together. And I believe that we continue after that, because right now we know about each other, we have each emails, and I believe that we will get the recommendation from the conference by you. Then we can establish new projects, develop idea together, and go ahead to work with each other. It will be our honor to work as Beirut University with the Caboose University regarding the media literacy and other, maybe we can have separate meeting and talk more about media, MDC, because we not just work with media literacy, work in different kind of projects and intervention on different levels, even on national levels. So yeah, we can start from here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Very good indeed. Dr. Melki, would you like to answer the question so we can wrap up?
Sure. I will address two questions about the approach to media literacy. Look, there is not one approach, there is not one entry point. Media literacy, traditionally, there's really no one way to do it. Education departments teach media literacy, English departments teach media literacy, journalism, communication, mass communication. All of these departments have taught media literacy. There have been a tradition of schools and activist-oriented media literacy. So I wouldn't be fixated on figuring out if it's the teachers or the graduate students. We will take whatever we can get when it comes to media literacy. The more of it, the merrier. So that's one. And that has been an approach that we've adopted at MD Lab. We have not imposed any kind of one cookie cutter format or entry point. Whatever you want. We've brought activists, journalists, academics, school teachers, you name it. We've even had a couple of engineers and physicists at some point. So that's fine too. We need it in the health arena with health literacy now. The second question about partnership and about funding. Look, for MD Lab, every year we fundraise anywhere between $150,000 to $250,000. That's a lot of money, and that takes a lot of energy and a lot of time from us. And Carola knows, because Carola is a major partner for MD Lab. And we also fundraise through our university. We're now supported by a generous grant, $120,000 grant or $110,000 grant from the US Embassy this year. Before that, it was the Norwegian Embassy, Canadian Embassy, Open Society Foundations, Ford. I mean, there's multiple funders, and each year I spend, if not hours, days just fundraising. And when it comes to partnership, I'm not gonna give you nice words and tell you, yeah, let's work together. That's empty, and I'll be lying to you. I will tell you this. What do you have to bring to the table? What do you bring to the table for partnership? Do you have the skilled teachers who can contribute? Do you have the funding? Do you have, I don't know, the technology? Do you have something innovative that we haven't used? Do you have the really cutting edge curricula? Bring it to the table, and this is how partnership starts. Partnership does not start with nice words and, yeah, let's get together. I'll tell you up front, and I hope you're not offended. I do not intend to offend or attack anybody. If you do not have anything to bring to the table, many others have. Okay, so why would we partner with anyone who doesn't have anything to bring to the table when we can partner with others who could bring grants, who could bring experts? Like we partner with the Salzburg Academy. They have, I mean, you saw the names that we brought to MD Lab. Those are world-class, top-notch media literacy educators. So build your capacity, build your local capacity, bring something to the table, and let's partner. We will be glad to.
Good. Wow, that was a very punch there, Doctor. Very, very good indeed. Yeah? Because what do you have to contribute? That's a good starting. Not just marry the merry, let's go it. Before we can close here, I would like to bring to something that I got. I understand, and I think you all agree, that we are doing that regionally, nationally, globally, and we are doing that in English, that Dr. Melki mentioned, and we should pay attention to the regional level, so partnership, but what do you bring with you? And then we start discussing. Excellent, Doctor. And then we can have about the it's not just media education or media literacy, but dividing. And yes, like Ms. Bayan said from the very beginning, and we can draw on that. I would like to say thank you so much for one point that I'm so glad. I think all of you is going to be glad on that one, is that we are coming together to discuss a very serious issue. And Oman, under the strong hands of Dr. Abidullah, put the Sultan Qaboos University in a huge platform, because Sultan Qaboos University really ring the bell for the wake-up call on media literacy. Okay. It is amazing good. He took the bulls by the horn and let's do it. And he did it. Of course, everybody helping. And this panel is amazing, very good, tremendous enriching. And yes, let's do it in the Arab world. Let's integrate East, West, South, North, intercape, and then we can make the riches of this. Dr. Abdullah, would you like to have the final word before you close? Or Dr. Hassani?
Nothing at all. Just thank you again. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Carola. And inshallah, I'm confirming that to Jad that if we decided to do so, and we are going to do so, we will bring something, I mean, serious and, I mean, materialistic, not just nice words for conferences. I can assure you that, inshallah.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. Love you. Ciao. Thank you.